An aircraft begins long before it ever meets the sky. Flight starts with materials chosen for strength, weight, and reliability. In aviation, every gram and every standard matter.
An airplane is built twice, first in design logic, then in the hangar.
Every system has to become one machine without ever losing its own integrity. This is where flat material begins learning the geometry of flight. Gulfstream is built not by thickness, but by how layers are oriented. Precision becomes performance long before the aircraft is assembled. The body of the aircraft begins as a disciplined skeleton. Strength in aerospace comes from thousands of correct joins, not a few dramatic ones. What looks simple on the outside is extraordinary discipline underneath. The front of the aircraft carries both vision and decision. The wing is where structure meets lift.
A wing is not a shell. It is a system of structure, fuel, and control.
In flight, small mechanical errors become major aerodynamic consequences. Before final assembly opens, modern flight defenses must not be made complex as on the aircraft must think correctly long before it can fly. After the structure is ready to receive it.
So a human environment.
Increase still has to meet the discipline of flight. This is where separate volumes become one pressurized airframe. At this scale, one fastener at a time.
Only now does the airplane begin to look inevitable.
This is the moment structure becomes capable of flight.
Stability is installed as carefully as thrust. An airplane becomes real when its surfaces can finally listen and respond. Before it can fly, the aircraft has to stand. The machine no longer hangs in process. It now stands as an aircraft. Power is introduced only when everything around it is ready. This is where the promise of thrust finally enters the airframe. Even stillness can look powerful when the purpose is clear. Every aircraft is eventually trusted through the heads and eyes of a crew. The cockpit does not just light up, it comes alive in logic. Passenger comfort is built into the hidden layers, not only the visible ones. A transport aircraft has to carry people by the hundreds, reliably, repeat. At the highest end, detail becomes part of the promise. At cruising altitude, comfort depends entirely on invisible integrity. One is controlled by surfaces that move only because everything else stays exact. Motion must be proven safely before it is ever commanded in the sky. A safe aircraft is one whose systems agree with each other. Range begins at discipline. The dents and lines no passenger will ever see. The cabin must become its own controlled atmosphere above the weather. This is when engineering begins to things. In aviation, appearance still has to answer to precision. At this stage, the aircraft is no longer being built. It is being judged.
Passenger trust is built before the first passenger ever leaves.
Aviation safety lizards and equipment. People hope never to notice.
Every aircraft changes, meaning the first time it sees the open sky. The ramp is where labyrinth reality. The first live engine run.
Aviation trusts numbers before emotion. Before flight, the airplane has to prove it can move safely on the ground.
The pilot's future commands are being checked surface by surface.
At altitude, the airframe becomes a vessel against the sky itself.
A safe aircraft is never just loaded, it is balanced.
Before the sky accepts the aircraft, humans must accept it first.
The most emotional moments in engineering often begin with a quiet taxi.
Everything built so far is about to be tested in a single accelerating line.
This is where engineering leaves the ground.
The first climb is the first full answer to years of design.
A test flight is not celebration. It is disciplined evidence gathering.
Race in the sky is always the visible result of precision. Trust in aviation builds by measuring the edges, not avoiding them. A sacred time is the first good sentence in the aircraft never speaks. The first flight matters because it becomes data, not mythology.
In aerospace, emotion is only trusted after it agrees with evidence.
One successful flight is not enough. Reliability has to repeat.
At delivery, technical trust technique.
A commercial airplane must fit an entire airline unit.
In private aviation, ownership begins in the details. Presentation matters because it frames the first human relationship with the airplane. This is where good quality becomes entrusted responsibility. An aircraft is only complete when we begin relying on it.
Everything in the cabin exists to make trust feel natural.
For many aircraft, the true mission is connecting millions of ordinary lives.
Let's be real. In business aviation, the aircraft transforms time as much as distance.
The final proof of any airplane is useful flight.
Reliability continues through every landing, turnaround, and next departure.
Aviation trust is protected not only by manufacturing, but by disciplined maintenance. Behind one aircraft is a community of expertise most passengers never see. Real value appears when every stage holds true, all the way to real use.
Aircraft are more than products. They are moving infrastructure for modern life. Most people experience aviation as normal. That is exactly how successful it should feel.
The best aircraft do not ask to be admired loudly. They ask to be trusted repeatedly. Good origin, correct use, and long support. This is how trust is built in aerospace. From raw aerospace materials to real people moving across the world, an aircraft creates value through.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We hope this gave you a deeper look at how real quality is made and quality and why trust matters.